have a guest standing backstage. We've been talking about clothes, and his suit's going out of style, so I want to bring him on. This is one of my favorite people, and has been a co-host of mine a couple of times. He's got a new album out, which we're going to talk about here. He's now a recording star for Motown. I'm talking about Soupy Sales. Welcome him, please.
Thank you. You know what? First, I got to say that I watched a rerun of yours on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. when you were on there. It had co-starring Mike Douglas, and I said, I've got to watch this. So I turned on the set. I got more film on my teeth than they had on you in that thing. I'm sitting there, and that was it. I think I blinked my eye.
I heard of a cameo, but that was ridiculous.
Oh, it always happens.
All I did was hit Robert Vaughn on the head like that. That was it. Over. And I had billing this.
When did you do that?
Oh, that was about 4 or 5 years ago.
You know, I did the same thing years ago. I went out to do a Rebel, and it was one of those things where they said, "Oh yeah," and it was like they put you in the thing and the makeup and everything, and like the guy rode up on a horse, and I said, "There's Johnny Yuma," and that was it.
That's the whole bit.
That was the whole thing. I was there for 5 days.
You should have phoned that.
Dressing room and the whole thing. You know.
Did you know that Soupy is a recording artist, Shirley?
No, I didn't. I'm upset about that.
Look, because and this album cover is a riot. Can you look at this? You notice anything unusual about it, folks? No shoes. That's right.
Well, I've been on the Motown label now. Well, this is out now, the album, and I'm on the label. And they say if it does good, they're going to take me off the label and put me on a record.
How do you feel about doing serious singing, Soupy?
Serious singing? Well, I don't think it's serious singing. I like to sing. We always sing the closing medley and the whole thing, and it's...
You know, I noticed something about you. You have, of course, instant recognition when people, see you. They pick you right out on the street. Do you have more of a young following, or would you say just everybody in general knows Soupy Sales?
Well, I
know the kids, the young people love you.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to think that we know that when I did a show and the audience breakdown was that we were very elated to the point that it had a three-way, which is very good because very few performers, can do that, I guess.
Yeah, everybody watches.
Yeah, and so which is great,
Yeah. Hey, do a song from your album, will you?
Okay.
Soupy Sales.
Lady luck, here I am, waiting so patiently. But life never brings a bottle to the party, and nothing good ever happens to me. I get up every day, work my hands to the bone, but life never brings a bottle to the party, and I wind up every night all alone. There's nothing in particular so great about me, but there's no one in particular that I'd rather be. I ain't got no extraordinary, just want to be ordinary. Lord up above me, send somebody down to love me. Oh, I've been walking alone. It's a shame and a crime. Life never brings a bottle to the party, and love never comes on time. There's nothing in particular so great about me, but there's no one in particular that I'd rather be. I ain't got no extraordinary, just want to be ordinary. Lord up above me, send somebody down to love me. Oh, I've been walking alone. It's a shame and a crime. Life never brings a bottle to the party, and love never comes on time. Love never comes on time. Hear me talking to you, love never comes on time.
Soupy Sales.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're a hit.
Thank you.
Hey, somebody told me you were trapped at an airport or something during a snowstorm.
Yeah, I was there at the airport for 58 hours. You know, a month or so ago, and they had to...
You're not, are you serious? 58 hours?
Well, I would much rather have been over at your house, but like, well, see, I was going to do the Carl Burnett show. So, it's Sunday morning, it starts snowing. So you call up the airport and he said, are the planes leaving? He says, they certainly are. I think they were talking about the ones in Hawaii because they weren't leaving in New York. So my manager and I get out there. So we get out there and it's snowing. So now one plane takes off at 10 o'clock. They gets halfway out on the runway. He can't find a strip or anything. They're out there for 12 hours, those people. See, and now I'm there and we're there and the people are waiting around and no planes in it, snowing. So pretty soon they say, you know, as the day goes on, they said, ladies and gentlemen, said everybody, there's no way getting out, there's no way getting in, you're going to have to stay here tonight, and we have some pillows and blankets. Now the people get the pillows and the blankets, and they take the cushions, and they get them from the back of the seats, and they're you know, putting stuff out, and they put the blanket over there, and I'm standing there. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Who goes to bed at that time? See? So now we said, what are we going to do here? You know? So now they said, that's all right. We got a lot of food. You know. Now it goes on and goes on, and pretty soon they say, somebody comes in and says, there's a church, a chapel on you know, the airport, Kennedy Airport, and they said, we've got to have a volunteer. And somebody said, what for? He said, we got to get 200 sandwiches to 100 people over there. And somebody says, well, what are they doing over there? And the guy says, they're praying. And the guy says, well, what would they be over there praying? I said, that someone gets there with the 200 sandwiches, see? And they says, would you sit down, Mr. Sales? I said, yeah. Now, we're there, and we go to, all during the evening, and there's a honeymoon couple that are there, and they're walking around. They got to catch a flight going to Hawaii. And now, years ago, you know, like in the service, everything, couples, you know, see each other, they could go in a phone booth and kiss her neck, you know, and everything like that. There ain't no doors to those phone booths they have at the airport now. See, now it comes time to sleep. They're putting people on the planes, and they're laying, on the floor, and some guy gets up and yawns like this. 3 people are laying down in his spot. You know, they're going wild out there. See,
where did you sleep?
On the floor. Now I sleep on the floor, and all of a sudden we got a guy that's got a big order from a lumber camp out west, because he's sawing those logs, boy. And like when I go to sleep, I go to sleep, I think it's perfectly quiet.
You don't like to hear people snore?
Oh, no snore. See, now I sleep 15 minutes. Now I'm up for 15 minutes, and you're walking around the airline terminal. You know what you do there? You say, oh, that's the departures and, oncoming, and you see a couple of winos walking around there. And some woman said, would you get me a glass of water? She said, I'm pregnant. And I said, well, you shouldn't come to the airport in that condition. She said, I didn't. And it was like, they're going, people go, now I'm up, I'm walking. Now you get up at 6 o'clock in, like.
How many times can you have your shoes shined?
Well, right? That's right. So you're walking. Now you get up in the morning, everybody gets up, and you go into the restroom. You remember when you're in the service, 83 guys in there throwing water and showering and combing the hair and shaving. I walked through it. It's got 3 guys shaved me there. I don't even know. It was like it was murder. Now we get that morning, and they said, listen, we've got to cool it because the food's running out, and they've already lost. They don't have food at 2 of the other terminals. I was at the American Airlines. They're, great. So now it comes through that day, and the end of the afternoon comes around, and I said, all right, no more nice guy. I said, from now on, I said, all the snorers sleep up at that end of the terminal, and all the non-snorers down at this end. See, and the guy says, well, I don't snore. And I said, what about it? I had monitors, guys. And the guy says, he's a definite snorer. I says, get up that end. He goes, now,
did he do that?
Yeah, I did that. See,
I love that.
So anyway, so he was funnier than I was out there. So now,
did they have drinks for you?
Oh, the bars were open and the whole thing.
No
like that. You had to line up in a long line. See, now they bring those people out that have been on the runway in that plane, been out there 14 hours, they're in shock. They don't know. They've been out there without cigarettes, without booze or anything. Now it's come sleep time. See?
Again?
Yeah, now it's sleep time. Oh, you all day long. You sit there playing cards and all, you're going crazy and talking to everybody and the whole thing. Now I call my manager up, he has a beautiful mansion out in Kings Road or something.
He must
Long
get
Island.
more than 10% then.
Well, he does, but the thing is, so now I call him up and I said, boy, you don't believe what's going on here. I said, they're running out of food. They're bringing in helicopters with food because everybody's out of food. And I said, and it's like I'm sleeping on the floor. And he says, I know what you must be going through. He says, we've been here for 2 days and we can't get a quart of milk. I said, I'm really all thrilled about that. He got the big, the home. So now it comes that night, and we're sleeping, and they start snoring. One guy next to me, and I said, he sneaked in from the. I took a pillow. I gave him a shot in the head. And he says, don't tell anybody. I won't snore. I said, one more time. Now I can't sleep. I get up and I say, everybody get the guns. Pan Am and United are attacking for food. And people get the what is that? They don't know what's going on. Now, after 2 days, now we sleep through that night. We get up the next morning, and we get ready to take off on the runway and the thing. And the stewardess says, "Would you like a pillow?" I said, "Just throw it on the floor." I said, "I don't want to sit. I have no comfortable seat, So we finally take off, and I check in the Beverly Hills Hotel, and I get up the room, and I said, "Would you have them come up and remove the furniture?" I said, "I'm sleeping right on the floor because I'm used to it. See." So now I go to sleep, and I feel lonely and lonesome. And I says, gee, maybe I didn't sleep that much. And you know what it was? I called down. I says, could you get me 300 people up here? I can't. So that's,
If I ever get stuck in an airport, I got to get there with you.
Oh, yeah.
It's much funnier when you're with Soupy. We'll be right back.